afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting and riveting, amazing Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, here of Select Defender of the Fatherland, off here to a 1 vs 1 on the ever-lost glider, where the glider is truly lost. In the north, we got Mr. Nobody, fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland, taking on the role here of the elite second Panzer Division West and South. We got Hero something there, fighting for America, freedom, democracy. The 6th Armored Division here, and we got elite troops versus Heavy Cavalry right here in the opening moments of the game, so there's clear plans here already being drawn up. Elite troops with access to G43s, stormtroopers, concussor grenades there. Very good choices versus the Americans with the G43s. And of course Pan Tactician, and finally the Tiger Ace versus Heavy Cavalry with rifleman defensive structures, smoke screens, rangers, combined arms, and Pershings. So we'll have to see if there's going to be any sort of big tank duels here, or what there'll be here between these two players. Grenadiers, MD42s for Mr. Nobody, double rifleman here for Hero. At least that seems what to be was written there, so that's what I'm calling him anyways. Rifleman westwards there. That's the reassurance heading eastwards there, securing the munitions point here by the, well, now empty market square. Pioneers advancing on the fuel point here, Grenadiers moving eastwards, MD42 actually advancing very aggressive on the church here. Bit of a bold move, but at the same time usually the opponent, or any player doesn't rush here, so getting the machine gun there can be quite, worksome there. Plus you can sort of have an idea there how his opponent's moving thanks to the line of sight that he gains from having a unit inside the church. More Grenadiers, more Riflemen. Standard stuff there so far. Both over one side with Triple Infantry, on the hand he's got weapon rack bulletins and grenade bulletins. Specifically, both are a bit cheaper. That is, upgrading here is a bit cheaper, and well then actually tossing about grenades is actually a bit cheaper. So interesting there. And obviously I think here's going to try and focus on some infantry plays there. So that'll be interesting to note there how much he makes use of that. Pioneers advancing the rest of the M1 carbine, seeing out as the MP40 wielding Pioneers are spraying them with a good dose of 9mm parabellum bullets. Pioneers there are routing the resistance in the house, but they're going to have to struggle a bit, of course, unless they just pop up here and begin shooting through the walls. Which has always been one of those weird things about the game's engine, but go figure. Grenadiers up north here, falling back as the rifle occupying the house here. Not a good fight there for the Grenadiers. Mr. Nobody, of course, quickly realises this and immediately just pulls back, so good response there. More Grenadiers on the way for him. I mean, versus the Americans, dull machine guns tends not to be a bad idea, but certainly a lot of Grenadiers, in particular if you are going to go for G43s, can work. Moving away from the central munitions, or victory point is actually going to go straight for the cough punch. Going to try and harass Hero there and force him to withdraw from these elements here to have to respond to a push here by the central cough point. So nice move there. Nice move there by Mr. Nobody. Grenadiers setting up here. Tech up there for Mr. Nobody. So triple Grenadiers, so 1 MD42. Bit of a lighter opening there, but not too light either. As for Hero, we got the platoon command post being upgraded. Lieutenant on the way there, Stuart 50 calibers. Stuarts have been getting very popular as of late in the American meta, thanks to, of course, being backed up by the 50 caliber and other bits there. So, been seeing a lot more of those recently. And there you go, we got early grenades. Ooh, fast play there by Hero. Almost got the Grenadiers there with it, but Mr. Nobody was able to retreat still. That does, of course, tell Mr. Nobody needs to be a bit more careful about it. Otherwise, risking getting hit with a grenade. Of course, he has access to grenades of his own, the concussor grenades, if he makes use of them. So versus the American Rifleman, I do find the stun grenade can be quite useful, getting a bit of time there to get him some shots, so, cover yourself from a flank. Medic bunker up first, though, needs to like to make a nice company. In the meanwhile, though, again, he's just going for that cop one. He's just trying to deny Hero as many resources as possible there. That is very clever. Compared to the Hero's not been trying to hit his opponent's cop point, and I think Hero might be realising he's been a bit slacking off there, and he's doing something about that soon. Meanwhile, continued aggressive harassment there from Mr. Nobody. Although, of course, Hero here is now going to return the favour there to Mr. Nobody. Like to make a nice company up there. Medics ready to provide support. And we got the Lieutenant out here immediately adding the bazooka. He's clearly worried about light vehicles. And I imagine we'll be seeing an upgrade here into the Stuart. I could be surprised he doesn't, but again, it's increasingly been part of the American meta just going for Stuarts because, well, the Stuarts are good. Unsurprisingly. And of course, going back up the 50 calibers and the Lieutenant, and then they're even better. Machine gun moving about there, a bit closer there to getting the G43s up. We'll have to go for any Stormtroopers. Personally, I do hope that because I do think the Stormtroopers are fun, but not everyone does go for them, certainly not everyone has to. Moving forward through there, covering up here. Nobody's actually positioning in a bit around. He's a bit worried about getting outflanked, maneuvered, or maybe just hit with artillery fire. So Mr. Nobody there sort of taking precautions against that. In particular, when the opponent does have access to grenades, and he's probably anticipating some other stuff there. So right now, I feel like Mr. Nobody might be pushing the machine a bit too far. They would go retreats. Otherwise, he could have risked, getting swarmed with grenades and just dead. Heading back to the cutoff point, still good counter harassment there from Hero now. And now we got a really large force of riflemen with the only machine gun retreat as well there. Mr. Nobody's going to have a hard time stopping there. He actually tried to grenade by that machine gun. Nice play. But didn't quite work out still. He's going to have a hard time trying to sort of slow down all of these chaps. Of course, they are slightly cheaper. I think they normally cost 30. Now they cost here for him 27. So if he throws like 10 grenades, he's probably going to save the cost of 1 grenade. Essentially, if he hadn't done bullets in there. So, I mean, there's some economy in that in the longer run. A bit. We'll have to see what happens next. Do we get in tech? Yes, we do get it. I'm going for the 5th caliber first. Very good. Mr. Nobody there's got like to make a nice company. Can again go for the Stormtroopers. You could also go for Panzer Grenadiers. We got the 2-2 for Mr. Nobody. The Leichter Panzer Spähwagen in there, hitting the fuel point here, hitting munitions, pushing back against the armies. And we're going for another machine gun there as well. Very good decision there. I mean, again, there's a lot of American, particularly an aggressive player, having a extra machine gun then can do a lot, to keep them back, and of course also allow to play more aggressively since one machine can cover a crucial point, and then allow the other machine guns to support your attacks. So that's, I think, definitely sort of the more forced composition I like to see. Bunch of infantry backed up by 2 heavy machine guns. 2-2 out there for Mr. Nobody. Machine gun almost done, hitting the fuel point there. They're both aggressive harassing there. They're both clearly experienced players who knows that the game is in large part determined by the fuel and control to the fuel. So of course, denying the opponent fuel by trying to ensure as much fuel for themselves, of course, is really crucial here. So there's a lot of maneuvering about here, trying to hit the other bastard here. Lieutenant with the bazooka is actually more or less stopping Mr. Nobody from getting back the fuel point here. We've got a big assault here. Backed up at the 5th caliber on the fuel point there from Hero as well, so he's rather got the edge here. Mr. Nobody's in a bit of a sticky spot. He's going to have to do some work there, I think, to regain control of the situation for himself. Meanwhile, though, Hero is just getting in there and punching those krauts on their noses. Noting no G for defeats on the Grenadiers as of yet. Pretty short munitions there, going for a flamethrower first on the Pioneers. Not a bad idea, and there you go. More grenades here. Definitely not very often see an American player so confident in his grenade where they actually had to bulletin for it, but it can work, and particularly opponents not used to sort of dodging grenades a lot there, it can be quite impactful. But it does require a bit of skill in that area to make good use of grenades, specifically to throw them, know when to throw them, but still pretty good stuff there. And there we go, Hero's going for the Stuart Light Tank there, the M5E1. More Pioneers on the way there for Mr. Nobody. Oh, he's going to need an anti-tank gun or something else to stop that Stuart Light Tank that's going to be hitting him very soon. Hitting the fuel point here, 50 caliber Piranha coming fire there. And locking down the west side of the map for the most part there, preventing Mr. Nobody from making any incursions. And now with both fuel points under control, Hero is really going to leap ahead here of Mr. Nobody. Even with the Stuart out, that of course does cost quite a bit of fuel. It's still going to be quite a lead here, since at the current state he can quickly gain that fuel cost there roughly within almost 2 minutes. I mean, a bit more than that. Mr. Nobody following up with a mortar. Always a good choice there for the Wehrmacht. You generally, as the Wehrmacht, want a combined arms suite to back up your infantry and all that. Good versus the machine gun, good versus the infantry, of course, can provide support doing an attack or help doing a defense. So I mean, overall, very good tool to have as the Wehrmacht. Not a bad idea to have as the Americans either. I mean, generally, having sort of a nice broad suite of weaponry is generally a good thing. But for the Wehrmacht, though, it's much more crucial than it is for the Americans. But again, as the Americans, you kind of want it anyways. Now the 50 caliber there, so both players are again starting to capitalize on the deal with the machine guns. We got the Stuart out here, and Panzerfaust off from the Stuart Light Tank, doing a nice bit of damage. Creations bring about, almost got the fuel point here, and second 50 caliber. There's almost done. Lieutenant being executed here by the Grenadiers, no mercy. No prisoners. He pops into the house here. And I think he's doing that, primarily to avoid the potential of him dropping the bazooka, though theoretically a unit inside the house can still drop the weapon. It is rare. And that way avoid, giving Mr. Nobody a bazooka. I think that's kind of what he did there. That's like my guess for that one. I mean, again, he figured he's going to lose it anyway, so might as well. Oh, very nice. 2 thumbs up to Mr. Nobody there. Laying down a smoke screen here because Hero kept carrying that machine gun in the same spot all the time. And makes use of that to pull up here with the smoke screen and then up the Pioneers. The trick, of course, is attacking through the smoke of the Pioneers. And that's where the trick sort of is. And basically, here's how you do it. For some reason, you specifically order them to attack ground in the house. They'll run up to it. What you need to do, and this is because the flamethrower is a splash weapon, is you actually aim right next to the building. That way they'll fire the flamethrower at the building, and the unit inside will still take damage because, again, it's an AoE weapon, actually. Which is also why flamethrowers aren't really affected by suppression. I mean, they take longer to fire between the bursts, but in terms of accuracy, they're not affected because, again, they're not relying on accuracy, they're relying on area effect. So, you know, a bit of advice if you find yourself in the same situation, you have to attack from smoke with a flamethrower, attack ground right next to the building. Took me a bit of a while to figure that one on personally, but you know, I did it in the end. Lieutenant on the way there for Hero, again replacing one lost. Panzer Grenadier here for Mr. Nobody. Could we be planning Panzerschrecks here? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, we're not seeing a Pack 40 here. Means there's still the Studer about, so maybe he's planning to rely on Panzerschrecks to deal with that. Or he hopes the 2-2 can do the job, or maybe there's Telemines who's been laying out, though I can't see any. He's playing about the 5th Cavalry, they're dying the house as well right in front of his nose. Panzerhaus and Steward. A lot of aggression action here between Hero and Mr. Nobody, between the 2nd Panzer Division and the 6th Armoured. Panzer Grenadier backing up with 2-2, very good. Gives them a much stronger assaulting formation, by the way, there with the Panzer Grenadiers. Allows them to more easily support vehicles on the move and just, you know, pull off good flanks. So he's sneaking up here. Figuring there's a machine gun he probably knows of. He's going to try and sneak up there. Very good move by Hero. That's all leaping up to me. 2-2 being routed by the Rifleman, moving up here for the centre with the large forces stood backing up. Barbed wire here and there. Nice work there by Mr. Nobody to secure the church against Hero and the armies. More grenades. He's been lobbing a lot of grenades. I mean, at this stage, he's at least earned himself 1 free grenade thanks to that bulletin. Take off for Mr. Nobody. Something went flying there, and we got weapon action on the way for Hero there. So probably some bars and bazookas. No sign of anything further in terms of tech though for Hero and the 6th Armoured Division. Pan's going to be down on watch. Can he go? He can't go for bazookas. Now the question, or Panzerschrecks. Damn it, Panzerschrecks. Though the Panzerschreck was based on the bazooka. Fun fact. Obviously, that was not what I had in mind when I called it bazooka. That was just me being a putz. Pioneers versus the 5th Cavalry opening up with flamethrowers. Panzer's moving in here. Going to become Panzerjägers. Note, by the way, that 2 Panzerschrecks was essentially the standard there. There's sort of the organised anti-tank teams with 2 Panzerschrecks, I believe. Fun note. And in fact, as the war went on, they sort of tried to move away from anti-tank guns towards tank hunter teams with double Panzerschrecks. For example, the Volkswagen divisions barely had any anti-tank guns, instead had these large formations just equipped with Panzerschrecks. Well, after they're being pushed back with the 2-2 and the MD-42, you can see though Nobody's under some serious pressure here from Hero. Lieutenant there pushing back the Pioneers there. Very thorough with those grenades. He's very active with those grenades as well. And in that sense, if then Mr. Nobody at any point he doesn't pay attention, he just slips up, he can quickly lose a unit here. Thanks to just Hero's absolutely intense grenading. Lost 1 machine gun, by the way, and he's going for another machine gun. Mr. Nobody, of course, is quite aware that he's very important. He has enough machine guns to help stall Hero's infantry, so certainly some intense fighting here still. Rifleman being routed, 5th coming up to the church. It could be a problem here for the 2-2 with the armor-piercing rounds. Points in the west being secured. Other 5th Cavalry coming in the house, which is looking a bit beaten up there. Panzerjägers moving up here, backing up the Pioneers. Ooh, nice, very nice. He's using the Panzer tactician here, not just to cut up the retreat of the 2-2, but allowing the Pioneers to get close to the church with a flamethrower. Wow, that's smooth. Stuart being pushed back there by the Panzer 4th, moving up with the flamethrowers. Again, this time I think he got it there again. Note he's attacking ground here. Machine gun is left, but he's doing it the right way. He's attacking ground right next to it, so again, that way the AoE damage affects the occupants, if there were any. No support call yet here from him. As for Hero, we got the tech up going on there. Very good, very good. And these variations there, G43s for the M1 carbines, and a few Kar 98Ks as well in amongst the G43s. Gonna do sending about here, no upgrades here from Mr. Nobody's gonna do is there. No stormtroopers either, and no concussor grenades either. Pioneers right in the centre. He's got a big push there from Hero with the rifleman. Noting he's only really used, I think, some sandbags, and that's it. No rangers, no smoke screens, no nothing there from Hero. Could only do a bit better there. He's also floating a bit of manpower. He could maybe consider fuel cache. For example, on the carve point to cut off any harassment there from. But I think. Oh, that was a bung grenade. Okay, I've just thought he threw a grenade at his own men for some reason. My God, he's a crowd. That's Joe, man. That's mean. That's insensitive. Grenades versus the 5th cover up north here. Machine holding out the 5th cover there in the centre. Mortals supplying cover, supporting fire there. Very good. Nice quick barrage stand. There he goes, stooping up here. Pretty risky there versus the Panther Six, and there you go, taking heavy damage. Obviously, had this been an actual war, the Stoop would have completely destroyed by 2 Panther Six going through it. I mean, those rockets were big, you know, quite easily able to penetrate and destroy a tank on its own. You wouldn't really need 2 rockets to destroy that. Grenade here off on the mortar. Oh, getting a wipe there. And he's going to steal it as well. Bold. Right here, Mr. Nobody is trying to take out the mortar. Denied. Well, they might be missing out the opportunity to get a rifle squad wipe at the very least. But then again, if you deny the mortar to Hero, of course, that is really good. Sadly, no Union nearby to provide smoke screen, though he could maybe call in on his own. But he actually makes off with the mortar. Damn. Good work there by Hero. Machine moving about here. Rifleman there being pushed back. Too many Germans with too many guns. And too many angry German words. MD-42 moving up. He's going to catch the Major on the eastern point. Of course, also signals to Mr. Nobody if he's paying attention here. There is a Major, which of course means he has to start wearing out tanks. He's got this Palmer Cop. And he's actually the one getting out the tank first. The Panzerkampfwagen 4. Sehr gut. Choose moving up against the 5th caliber. Yeah, pop armor piercing rounds once more. I mean, just look at that. He's actually using the pan tactician not to protect the 2-2, but actually to screen his infantry advances. That is smooth. 5th caliber, those are Grenadiers. Rifleman Lieutenant moving up, backed up here now by Hero's mortar. Panther almost done there for Mr. Nobody. Grenadiers moving up, machine coming up there, and there you go. Panzerkampfwagen 4 mobilised here for the 2nd Panzer Division. A Rifleman Lieutenant moving up. 2-2's going to need some repairs there. And we got the Stuart moving up as well. Close to the Sherman, though could of course go for a Jackson tank if he wants to. He's still floating manpower. He could consider Rangers or maybe another mortar of his own. So I probably just straight up recommend a fuel cache. Again, more fuel right now for him would be really good here versus Mr. Nobody. I.e. more tanks in the longer run. Maybe, you know, support a push per Pershing, and of course, just make it harder for Mr. Nobody to harass him. So really, I think you should go for some of that fuel cache there. Panther 4 taking a few hits, but overall, Hero here can't really damage it. He's not even got a bazooka on hand. Need to fall back with the Stuart Rifle. They've been caught by the MG-42 on retreat. Completely collapsing Hero's left flank here. Nice work there by Mr. Nobody in the east. Their machine gun pushing back the Major as well. But we got the 5th caliber moving up to counter that by popping into the nearby house, which means that machine gun's going to win the engagement versus the MG-42. Stuart almost destroyed. Hero can go for Sherman now. Of course, the question is if he will go for the Sherman. Could of course be tempted to go for the Jackson tank destroyer. But he's fighting a bunch of manpower though. I can understand he doesn't want to, you know, keep spamming infantry or whatever else, but I definitely, again, like if you're fighting yourself a lot of manpower and you can build caches, and again you don't want to build other stuff, like build caches. And again, just getting out some extra fuel caches or munitions caches can really do a lot for you in the longer run, rather than just floating that much manpower. But again, while I can understand why it's floating, I do feel like Hero is getting himself not quite with as many options he could in the longer run. Because, I mean, he's got sort of roughly 4 infantry with this, that. I mean, he obviously doesn't want too many troops to manage, and he can't even build much other stuff. But again, fuel caches or munitions caches he wants to. That's definitely something I feel like he needs to, you know, begin doing stuff with. Panther William pushed back with the Major going up there with bazookas. Well, one bazooka. This is moving eastwards. 50 cover covering up there. Victory points wise. Hero's got a big lead over Mr. Nobody here. on fire there from the mortar. 2-2 racing into the base. A bold move here. Panzer Tactician again, though. In this case, realizing he's in a bit of a bad spot, quickly pulls out. Still, nice play there by Mr. Nobody. Hero with the M36 Jackson tank destroyer, roughing it on the mortar. And nice moving in the Panzer IV. Bold. But there you go. We got bazooka teams. We got the mate Stuart there. Mortar wiped out. Jackson not quite done. Troops trying to move through the centre of the machine gun there by the cemetery. Is quickly locking it down. And these push up here as well by the reactions. But there's, well, a German machine gun there ready to greet them. I mean, considering all the grenades and weapons he wants to use, again, I could also suggest him just getting munitions cache. So, either way, I think a cache would be really great for Hero as well, besides here. Again, fuel ammunitions, either way, I do think he just needs to spend some of that surplus manpower on casualty here versus Hero. And this is Mr. Nobody. 2-0 on the rifleman, and then seeing hit in return from the 50 caliber there, smoking up again. Tank destroyer out though, Panzer is going up there, Mark Power bomb grenade if they had the munitions for it. And we got a third 50 caliber now for Hero all of a sudden. An interesting choice there, though again I honestly recommend a cache over that, but you know, triple 50 caliber, still a lot of 50 calibers. There he goes, rushing in for it. He's going to try and stand up, lined up, allowing the Jackson to go for it. Nice hit there, but it's looking a bit dicey here to be honest for Hero. Smoke machine popped there by the Panther IV. Stuart continues to move in there, shoots, misses. Big push, you need to get the mortar on that church to smoke it or something else. Stuart falling back here, could get Panther faster. Jackson there, also now disengaging from pursuing the Panther IV here. And the west side there's collapsing from Mr. Nobody. There's only the church now with the Grenadier squad backing up the machine gun inside there. And these duel between two machine guns here. 50 caliber versus MD42. Mortar probably needs to get closer to support, and again I suggest just smoking up the church entirely and rushing it with grenades. Since you don't need to, you know, throw them next, you can just throw the grenade straight at it. I think that worked out a lot faster there. Mr. Nobody going for another Panther IV here. Bring in more mighty Panzerkampfwagens. Wow, he's going for a 450 caliber? That's interesting. Definitely not a strategy I'm used to seeing. Isn't being held down here by them before in the east. Come to this as roughly in the centre. We got a concussor grenade off there. We go a bit more doctrinal usage. So in this case, ends up not mattering too much. Still neat repairs, but 450 calibers? That's unique. Honestly, I'd probably just recommend a fuel cache rather than a fourth machine gun at this stage. But I mean, 4 machine guns is going to be very difficult for Mr. Nobody's Infantry to deal with. Also a bit tricky for the 2-2 to deal with. But still, 450 calibers. Yikes. Fixing up the Stuart there. Jackson there, good to go. Just needs a crap Panzer to blow apart. Mr. Nobody, also flaming manpower, could also, you know, maybe benefit a bit from a fuel cache or some stormtroopers. Or yeah, I suppose he could also just go for a lot of machine guns. I'd not recommend that. Mortar I think is quite good here for Mr. Nobody. Dug in here with 50 calibers, mages, rifle and all that. We got a deep flank here with the Panther IVs. In fact, almost hugging the edge of the map there. Clearly a bigger push here. It's being set up there by Mr. Nobody. Very nice. And these we got 2 coming up as well, rounding a 50 caliber there. Note that Mr. Nobody's very wise, not just looking to hit, his opponent very strong. He's actually looking to find, the weak spots and then hit them with maximum force. That way, trying to destroy Miss Hero's force, and that way you're getting control. And there we go. Finally, he's building a bloody cache. And he could have done this out much, much sooner. So, but still, he's building in the end. Munitions cache again. Considering again his intent to use grenades a lot, and also want weapon racks, it's understandable. He wants munitions cache. Though again, he would have benefited from this a lot sooner. Panther IV there, it's opening up on the church, right from near to it, getting blasted. Stuart moving in, Jack's moving up to engage. And certainly I imagine the munitions there from the cache are going to be used towards bazookas to help deal with all the armor. There you go, Lieutenant being turned into a bazooka man. Bazooka Bob. Unit executed here by a German counterattack in the east. Is he saving up for a Tiger Ace? That seems a bit... Oh, maybe he's got a plan here for the Heavy Panzer Corps, actually. Again, he would benefit from fuel cache here. Panther got catch them right here by the cover point. He needs to retreat now. Otherwise, he's going to lose that rifle squad there. In fact, he might end up losing it to the Panther Force with the machine guns and their high explosive rounds. Both of them missed the rifle in the retreat. Jackson moving about here in the east. Mr.Nobody back being pressured here by Hero. Back and forth between these two experienced players. 50 Cavs up there and the Panther 4 Major trying to get off some shots, but looks like the 50 Cavalry crew won't allow him that particular honour. So the question is, what is Hero planning next? Is it going to be the person who's going to be more tank destroyers? I mean, it's obviously going to go for more bazookas, but beyond that it's a bit less clear what the battle plan is. Against Mr. Nobody in the 2nd Panzer Division. 24 holding up there. Oh! Snap! He almost got the Stuart light tank there, stolen under his nose. Nope, well, if you're suppressed, you can't enter a tank like this, so he has to get the man suppressed to get some other unit up there to grab it for him. Mr. Nobody adding the Panzerwerfer there to blast Hero's forces into submission. Still going straight for the MG42 here. Gonna get Panzerfaster there. Incendiary Pimp on the Stuart as well, though, which is very close to the ace level. Back here, healing enforcement. Moving up eastwards here, 50 coming up to set up inside the house to cover the victory point there. I mean, he's going to have a smaller network there, 50 covers. In fact, it seems like he's planning like a series of, yeah, almost there. I mean, basically here, he ends up creating essentially a large area that is not really traversable by Hero's infantry. I mean, Mr. Nobody's infantry. Hero's infantry can obviously traverse it because the machine guns are on their side, at least in theory. This seems a bit weird. I mean, it's obviously a very strong anti-tank position if the tanks get within line of sight, but if they're just ignoring it, obviously he's just got 2 units there. He's trying to collapse the church, so Hero needs to abandon that church soon because that thing's about to collapse. But there you go. Jackson moves up, shoots the Panzer IV. Barley Veteran T2, shots and added. Other Panzer IV moving up, engaging the Stuart crew. And the Stuart, obviously. There you go, church collapses, Lieutenant Rifleman getting out there in the nick of time. Starting to look, oh, I was about to say he looks like he's going for the Persian, but he's going for the Jackson number 2. Fighting for this church cemetery there, we got 270 versus 274. Hero now has a very marginal lead over Mr. Nobody. MG42 carrying the western victory point. Back here we got healing enforcement going in there for Hero. And we got another Jackson away for him. Well, halfway done anyways. And Mr. Nobody finally commits to another mortar, realizing, well, he kind of wants one. And since he apparently can't get his old back, he has to get a new one. And seemingly almost the same tactic again. Well, this time he's actually just attacking ground here. It seems, engaging the 5th Cav there through the smoke. That's definitely a bit more tricky to set up, but it's apparently working. The 5th Cav is actually bleeding out and he can't respond due to the smoke. He actually took it out there. That's pretty impressive though, Mr. Nobody. In the center there we got big engagement grenades off. Concussive grenade on the lieutenant, allowing the grenades to fall back before the lieutenant hits them with an actual grenade. Jackson number 2 around here, Lieutenant pushing forward, mortar fire raining down in the east, finding on the victory point here. We've got another 50 caliber coming up the point here. There's only just 3 50 calibers, those are the previously 4. More mortar fire raining down here. Now we've got the Germans trying to take out the American machine gun teams there. The Panthers there being routed as they try to move ahead. There we go. Panzer fires off. They've already gotten 2 kills. And can they do more killing here? Nope. Bit of a wasted barracks there for Mr. Nobody. Jackson's charging in. They're going for the Panther 4 already down to half health. In fact, less than half of Bazooka teams moving up. Smoke string down as well somewhere. Oh, it looks a bit. Where did he call in the smoke? Oh, it's over here by the machine on the west. Alright. Jackson moving forwards here. Panther 4's falling into the base. 2-2 as well there alongside the Panzerwerfer. Other Panther 4 here. Probably be an easy target here for the Jackson to deal with. But no, he's insisting going to the base where the Panzerjägers are as well. Of course, lots of Panzerfaust. think Mr. Nobody, or Hero, got a bit too confident. Mr. Nobody there, who saw an opportunity to punish him. Now he might end up risking losing against Jackson if he's not careful. Since the punch league is very much hot in pursuit here. Tanks don't need repairs, so we still try and move in. There we go. Panzer Strikes land there, almost taking out the Jackson. One more rocket, and that'll probably be it here for the tank destroyer. And the Jackson is down. A bit of a blow there to Hero. And the 6th Armored Division, a victory for Mr. Nobody. And the 2nd Panzer. D.D. Sean. Fixing up the Jackson number 2 here. Well, that's rather now Jackson number 1. Since Jackson number 1, or previous one, got blown to bits. Grenades off there. Concuss again trying to stop up the advancing lieutenant. Student against support as well there. Rifling up. Unit wiped out. Heroes beginning to take some heavier losses here versus Mr. Nobody. Panther Force off the Stuart. Panther Force moving in here. Bit of a bad development. Jackson's nowhere near his team. Got a few bazookas. That's about it. There we go. Jackson shoots, penetrates the Panther Force armor. By the way, noting that Panther Force is very close to the base level there. Panther 4 knocking out the Stuart light tank. Very nice work. Also, big thanks to Carsten for donating to support the Propagandacast. Truly, you're part of my company of heroes, so big thanks to you. And after that little message, back to the fighting. Just had a bit of lull there, so I figured I'd get that message in. I mean, it's obviously more or less a full pop cap, so I mean, again, he could go for caches, obviously, but beyond that, there's not really much else for him to spend his manpower on. Again, fuel cache and munitions cache wouldn't hurt, but even then he's got plenty of fuel, so that would even be kind of superfluous. But munitions cache maybe again just going to set up for more mines and whatnot. Fires and bazookas, grab the center victory point. Rifle Rider from the west. Jackson there hanging back, close to victory 1. Panther Force moving in and moving out. 222 is 274. Panther the barrage off. Got this one acting up doing some damage. Not a lot there. I mean, Mr. Nobody's really not had a lot of luck with those barrages so far. I mean, he's got 3 barrages off for now, and he's only managed a total of 3 kills. Not exactly the most impressive rate of success. There we go. 5th Cavalry wiped out. Mr. Nobody's forces are being withered down here. Hero's force being withered down by Mr. Nobody. Mr. Nobody's still been able to keep his force pretty intact, actually, versus Hero, who's been struggling a bit more to get attacks going, and I think also has been relying a bit much on brute force. And again, I feel like one of the issues was just that point, which is just floating a lot on manpower versus Mr. Nobody, when he could have built cash and set up for the longer run. Maybe he's setting himself up for Pershing, which could be quite useful here. Mr. Nobody was finally building cash himself, also munitions cash. I mean, again, makes a lot of sense here. Ace Panther 4, and ooh, that Panther 4 is about to get blown to bits. 27 kills on that Ace Panther 4, by the way, good. Panther loss for the second punch. Ace Panther Force going for the Jackson and takes it out. Quite a blow there to Heroes going for another Jackson, so he's down to just 1. 30 kills on that Panzerkampfwagen 4. Units being wiped out here with the machine guns as well. 31 kills. Oberleutnant Hartmann, the driven Panzer Commander. Meanwhile, 2-2 is racing into the base to take out the ambulance. Sneaky and cheeky. Well played there, Mr. Nobody. A significant blow to Hero. At this stage of the fighting, it's going to make it having to get his forces back into fighting formation here versus Mr. Nobody. And it even got away with it from the base. Jackson sitting out here. Panther, oh, it's going to be spotted here and taken out. Pops the smoke, but sadly he's not within the smoke. Gets taken out there. Ace Panther 4 moving in here. Lots of shooting here. Jackson hits, the Panther 4 misses. There you go, penetrating hit. And he could blitz here. Otherwise, he's really fast. He's got a good rate of 5 base. I mean, this engagement with the last part is going to be won by the Panther 4. simply because it has a much higher rate of fire than Jackson on top of everything else. And there you go, Panther first off, shoots for the hedges, and with that, heroes remaining. Jackson is down, and with this, he surrenders. Game over. GG. A victory for the fatherland. A loss here for America, freedom and democracy, with heavy losses on them both sides. And then Mr.Nobody are able to pull through, I think, through better armor tactics and strategies. Compared to here, I think he had some good moves, but ultimately I think he made a few mistakes. And then again, part was just floating so much manpower there, and he could easily gone for more stuff to pressure his opponent. So I feel like that was sort of an issue there for Hero in the longer run. And I feel like he also might benefit a bit from Rangers at some point, since they are pretty good. But overall, nice little match here on a Lost Glider. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell a friend, tell a family, but don't tell your enemies. And if you like what I do, you can donate, just like Mr. Carsten there did. Links in the video description. This is Imperial LinkedIn. Cheers. Thank you for watching. You all a wonderful audience. Hope you see you tomorrow again for a nice episode. Bye.